Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is DJ Pony with a special reading for you today. No, it is not a regular reading, but a Clopfic. Yes, a Clopfic. I really don't know how to describe a Clopfic, but I'm sure you'll figure it out if you haven't already figured out by the way it sounds. This one is titled Sisters, and it's between Princess Luna and Celestia. I figured since my 200 subscriber thank you video was gonna be about the princesses, I figured I may as well read a Clopfic about them. Yeah, so this one's called Sisters. It's very nice. And here we go. A guard trotted up to Celestia as she watched an elderly unicorn stallion leaving the throne room. Your Highness, that was the last one for today, earlier than expected. What will you do while you wait for Miss Sparkle's arrival? You still have about an hour until her carriage is scheduled to arrive, he informed. Thank you for your service today, Stormwall. I am greatly looking forward to speaking with my student face to face again. She seems to have made a great discovery, possibly the greatest in the history of magic, and wants to discuss it with my sister and myself. As for right now, I think I will use this opportunity to spend some time with my sister. Will you be making preparations for her night court? I will, Princess. Good day and good night. The Pegasus Stallion turned to the other guards in the throne room and started giving orders for the nightly redecoration of the throne room. Princess Celestia trotted off at a comfortable pace, admiring the beautiful hallways of the castle, watching servants and guards walking around on whatever business they had, enjoying the peace and tranquility of the inner parts of the castle. Luna cracked open a sleepy eye. Judging by the sun's position, it was early evening. Good. That meant she would have some time for herself before she had to prepare for her night court, and her sister would be busy for a while longer. No pony else would have a reason to see her at this hour. Content that she would not be disturbed, Luna shifted into a comfortable position lying on her back, and started softly rubbing a socked forehoof between her widely spread hind legs, drawing pleasure from the sensation of fabric against her most sensitive area. Letting a small moan escape her lips, she gradually increased the intensity of her self-stimulation, not really caring that her sock was getting wet. It just added to the sensation. She could feel the pressure within her building up, steadily approaching a much-desired release. Sister, may I enter? With a frantic expression on her face, Luna pulled off the soaking wet sock and hid it beneath her bed before getting herself into a more decent position and calling for her sister to come in, hoping she would leave quickly and not notice what had been going on only seconds prior. Celestia stepped into Luna's bedroom, sniffing the air and looking over at her sister, who was wearing socks on 3 of her 4 hooves, the 4th sock nowhere in sight. Luna, were you... Oh. A slight blush graced the princess's face. I didn't mean to disturb you. I just had some extra time off, and I thought we could spend it together. I'll just find something else to do, unless you... Her blush deepened. Luna's ears perked up. Unless I what, sister? Unless you would like for me to join you, Celestia blurted out, her face redder than ever. Luna closed her eyes and smiled softly. This disturbance might actually turn out to be a good thing. Actually, sister, I would love that. Luna slowly licked along the length of her sister's horn, getting an arousing groan in response. The white mare was laying on her back, fully exposing herself for her beloved sister, who was taking her sweet time arousing the mare. Finally, Luna slipped the socked hoof down between Celestia's legs and started gently rubbing. The moan she got in response nearly made her give in to her urges, but she kept them in check and continued at her painfully slow pace. It was not often Luna could be in control of her sister, and she wanted to enjoy this rare opportunity to its fullest. She gently bit Celestia's neck, causing the most erotic whimper she had ever heard. She found a new spot and bit down a little harder, drawing out the same reaction. Celestia wanted more. Those bites had felt so good. She had no idea her sister, that gentle soul at heart, could be so rough, but she certainly wasn't complaining. Wait, why did she stop? Don't stop! Harder! Please! She moaned. Hearing the need in her sister's voice, Luna couldn't help but give in. She bit down again, hard enough to draw blood this time, the speed of her hoof against Celestia's juicy flower increasing slowly. This was the best thing that had happened to her for the last 1,000 years at least. Not only was she being intimate with her beloved sister, who had been gone for so many years, that same sister was dominating her, physically hurting her, nothing no pony had dared for as long as she could remember. Not being in charge for once allowed her to properly relax, despite the tension building within her. She could be content with laying in this position forever. However, she knew her sister could give her so much more than this simple pleasure. The blissful, lusty look in Celestia's eyes nearly became too much for Luna. She could no longer bear only the one being with the pleasure. She needed to release herself. She gently eased herself down on top of her sister, her own dripping wet marehood making contact with her sister's. The thrill of being caught wet-hoofed by her sister, and then seeing her moan and writhe in pleasure underneath her, had done nothing to abate the lustful feelings that had caused her to rub herself in the first place. Rather the opposite. She knew she could have teased her sister for a while longer, but her own urges wouldn't stay in check anymore. The time to be gentle had passed. She began forcefully rubbing their lower bodies together, making Celestia scream. The scream did not last long. As soon as she opened her mouth, Luna attacked it with her own, sending waves of bliss down Celestia's spine. The wrongness of the situation, they were sisters, combined with Luna's lustful intensity, caused Celestia to peak long before she normally would. Even as she was coming down, Luna did not relent. The taste of her sister's mouth, and in her increasingly loud moans and spasming body, had made Luna lose complete control, freeing the sex demon she had struggled so hard to contain. The white mare could do nothing but lie there. Her climax had drained too much of her energy. Only barely conscious, she felt her sister's mouth leave hers, and then some shuffling sound, until her sister's marehood, dripping wet with both sisters' juices, was pressed hard against her mouth. Taking the hint, she slipped her tongue inside the other mare and gently started moving it around. The feeling was good, but it was so tame. Luna wanted to be wild. "Harder, sister! Come on!" she screamed, before burying her own tongue inside her sister, to show her how it should be done. Despite being exhausted from her previous climax, Celestia could feel herself building up towards another. The feeling was nearly overwhelming, but she managed to focus enough to increase the intensity of her own licking. She found herself enjoying the taste of her sister's juices. Still not satisfied, Luna lifted herself off Celestia's face. "Sister, bend your head forward now!" she commanded sternly, a slight hint of the royal Canterlot voice making Celestia unable to disobey. Luna impaled her dripping hole on her sister's horn before letting herself fall sideways onto the bed. Celestia started pumping her horn, obviously not fast or hard enough, according to Luna's screams. She also fired up her magic, making her horn vibrate inside her sister. The unusual feeling of a tight marehood around her horn made it difficult for Celestia to properly control her magic, or indeed focus on anything at all, besides the pleasure. After what felt like forever, Luna peaked, soaking Celestia's horn in face, screaming in the royal Canterlot voice. Celestia briefly wondered if Luna had soundproofed the room, before the flash repeatedly clamping down on her horn caused her to reach a second peak. Luna, still full of energy, way too full, turned around and kissed her sister again, forcing her tongue into her mouth. She slid one forehoof down to her sister's marehood, and one to her own, and started rubbing both. Celestia knew that, with the intensity of her two previous orgasms, a third one would leave her completely exhausted and non-functional, but at this point she didn't care. Her sister's lustfulness was apparently contagious. Without breaking the kiss, the elder sister rolled the younger onto her back, placing herself on top for once. She roughly smacked the other's flank, drawing a yelp and muffled moans reminiscent of "harder, harder." She smacked it again, before replacing the hoof between Luna's legs with her own. Knowing what her sister wanted, she rubbed the area roughly, while simultaneously wrestling her tongue, fighting for dominance. Despite the heat of the moment, Celestia suddenly remembered the appointment she had with her student. The guards knew that Celestia was in the royal bedchamber, and she would surely relay that information to Twilight, who had the habit of walking in without knocking. And she would arrive any... Celestia's train of thought was broken as her third orgasm washed over her, numbing her senses and leaving her panting, exhausted. She fell down on top of her sister, who quickly wriggled her way out. Celestia opened an eye, seeing first a crazed expression of lust on her sister's face, then, following her sister's gaze, the horrified lavender unicorn staring back at them. Luna pounced. All right, that was an interesting Clopfic. Personally, I think some Luna on Celestia is pretty high. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying, son. I really enjoyed reading this for you guys. A little nervous because it's my first Clopfic, and honestly, I'm not that experienced of a voice actor, anyways. But I'm hoping I did it right. If I didn't do something right, feel free to tell me in the comments. I will try to improve myself. Self-improvement. That's all it's about. You gotta make yourself better. My 200 subscriber thank you video, I will be releasing that as soon as possible. I don't think I will make it the second I hit 200 subscribers. It's probably going to be a little later. It's a lot of work going into it. You can't rush perfection. I've been working, as much as time forgives me, but tomorrow I'll be a little busy. I got to go with my mom. She called me and she wanted me to help her. I'm gonna go help fix up a house she bought. She's a real estate agent, so, and she knows that I like to work and I like to use my hands. So that's it for today, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy your Wednesday, Thursday, the rest of your week. Enjoy the rest of today. I got 4.5 inches of snow today. Or wait, no, 14. Sorry. Yeah. So goodbye and good luck.